Back. And this time I am with Caitlin. Thank you so much for coming on with me this morning. I'm super excited about our talk.
Absolutely. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So you guys, the title of this is Home-Based Business, Can It Really Be Lucrative, right? So what I want to do is I want to just show you guys different students that are in my programs and what is happening in their lives, like what is actually changing for them, right? And so, Caitlin, would you mind just letting people know, your backstory a little bit, like what you were doing before? Because I imagine you have an entrepreneurial background before you got into my stuff. Like what was going on with that?
Absolutely. So before I came into the Marthaverse, honestly, it was honestly, I was trying to find a solution. In fact, I actually thought of giving up my business because it felt wrong. It did not feel authentic to me. And something that I'm going to say about you, Martha, is you're not just someone who throws a program out there and when somebody makes a purchase, you disappear forever. You are very authentic. And the thing that I love about you is just imagine, when you make a purchase with Martha, she's holding your hand the whole entire time. Now, before Martha's programs, I was under the intention of there has to be something more in this life. I was not so for working 9 to 5, and I watched my parents live paycheck to paycheck, and I saw them struggle, and I just thought, there's got to be something more. My parents, they're very noble people, but there has to be something more. So I entered your program, and something that you taught me is belief. Belief in myself. I have a background of low self-esteem, not believing in myself, almost taking my life 11 years ago. And I trusted in the Holy Spirit about 11 years ago. And this is when I'm really going to put you on the spotlight here, Martha. You have brought me closer to my Creator. You, your programs, it's not just something you pick up and you forget about. It's legacy. It's something that will stick with you on a spiritual level, which I love. And Martha, using your program has allowed me to believe in myself, look at my Creator, and believe in something much larger than myself. And then, even more important, spreading impact and finding my purpose, my calling in my life. And I'm excited. And it used to be getting up in the morning was tiresome. And it used to be I would hit a wall of sadness, and I just felt and always would ask the question, what's my purpose? And I was able to find my purpose, and that's to help low self-esteem women and men to be able to find their significance on this planet.
Oh, whoo! That's a big question that people ask me is whenever jumping into my stuff and it's, like HBR and things like that, they'll say, well, I don't have a business yet. Is it still for me when I don't have a business yet? And I think that's a great time to jump in because you build it up from the roots. Like you determine in the program, you determine your own like essence, what you're about, and then to create business based on who you actually are. Whereas a lot of people, when they're starting business, they kind of just say, well, I want to do this, and then they just start doing it instead of like that connecting with them, instead of that actually being a part of them in the way that I believe they're here to serve. I love everything that you just said. Like, that is amazing. So what did you have any sort of reservations whenever you were getting ready to jump into my stuff? I know some people are like, meh, I don't know. Is she just another one of blah, blah, blah? Did you have any reservations?
So my reservation was the fear of making a large purchase and not getting all of the answers. Because that's typically what would always happen. I would
Yep.
get a book, I would purchase other courses, and it would just not be authentic. And it would just be all about maybe that company, and it just didn't resonate with me, and therefore it just didn't sound authentic to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And so would you say you got all the answers?
Oh my word. Yes.
Funny question, but I have to ask for the
Yes.
people that don't
Shout
know.
it to the rooftops. Yes.
That's that.
Everybody needs your program.
Oh, thank you. That is why people have reservations about buying any course, even me, because I still buy courses, right? So whenever I'm getting something, I'm always like, is this actually, am I going to get what they say this is about? Or are they just really good salespeople or really good copywriters? And then you get into it and you're like, it's garbage again, right? Like we all go through that. And I think now with so many courses out there, we're especially sensitive to that. We're like, I'm not going to spend money if it's not going to be the answer. Thank you for sharing with people that like you get over and above the answers, because there's coaching and there's all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yes. Forever and ever, amen.
Forever and ever, amen. That's it. That's it. You pay once, you have coaching for life, which is, I don't think anybody else does that yet anyway. So what is going on now? So what's happening in your world now?
So, what's happening in my world right now, again, I'm stepping into my best self. And I'll be honest, Martha, we're buying a house. And again, sometimes that limited belief can really, strike you. And I've just really been able to work on my belief to the point. Okay, I'm going to be very vulnerable with you, okay, Martha?
Yeah.
So buying a house, it did entail I'm going back to work, okay? But that's just a puzzle piece that I believe God has for me.
Yeah.
Because we need to buy a home. But I'm going into my life in a whole new level, not just for the paycheck, but just for impact. But also, it's like I'm going to go to work, but I know when I come home, I'm going to carve out my time for my business, for my
Yeah.
people. And when I think of my people, I'm unstoppable. And then when I put Jesus in that perspective, it's just amazing. So right now, I am living my best life. I am living as if my prayers have already been answered. I have a vision and I'm present and I'm grateful for now. And I'm so excited for what's to come.
I love it. I love it. There's also something to be said for. I love your perspective around going back to work, because there is absolutely something to be said for. There's likely somebody there that you need to be around. There's whenever things happen and it doesn't seem like our plan, for things where you're like, well, this feels like it's backwards from where I want, but whenever that happens, what I find when I look back on it is that there was somebody there was a reason for me being there, I had to be there for some reason, and then maybe it's a short-lived stint or whatever, but still it's because you're being placed, right? Like that's how I have always seen it. I'm not saying that's what it's going to happen, but in my life and me looking back, it's always been something like that. When it felt like, what's going on here? But I mean, I have to do this, so I'm going to do this. There was a reason. When I look back, I can see the reason. And it's so cool that you're open to it, because that's the more that we surrender and the more that we live our life in surrender, the easier it is for miracles to happen. I'm just going to be like totally flat out honest.
Martha, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have a miracle. And that miracle is when you ask me to relook at my resume, and sometimes I get scared, even childhood traumas of like, oh, you can't do this, or things like that. Your program, your teaching has actually helped me, again, with my belief, but even my administrative stuff. So I walked in that interview acting as if I already had the job. And I had that in my employer in the interview. He said, "What can you tell me that'll make you stand out that is not on your resume?" And I told him, "I'm simply here to make a difference. I'm here to create impact. And I love to see the beauty within people and their spirits." And I got the job, Martha. I got the job.
Ah, there's an ownership and empower. There was a student, Diane, came down yesterday. She was in Winter Garden yesterday, and so Danelle and Sherry and I went and had. We just sat down with her for a little while, and something that she was even talking about was that she's in sort of like an employment situation, but she's treating the employment situation from a different space. She's treating it as, okay, so here is where I get to meet people, and then the right people will come down, into the different things that she has to offer and whatever. But it's, you approach your life from a whole different perspective when you take ownership of your impact. And when you take ownership of your mission here in the world, you even approach your job in a different way. Your job is an opportunity every single day, right? And that's where if people could really truly see that, instead of sort of like having this thing that they have to go to, instead showing up as a fully empowered version of yourself that also has this other life or this other part of their life where they have massive impact, it's going to shine right on through you, and you're probably going to grow this while being here. It's just probably going to happen. I can't wait to follow up with you in like 6 months. So no pressure, but follow up with you in 6 months to see like where the story is going, because this is going to be an interesting one. That's for sure.
Thank you, Martha.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you for coming on with me. Everybody, you have the best day. Caitlin, thank you so much for coming on, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.